Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Talk Exchange. Today's guests are Randy England and Randy and Kim Hall, and they're here to talk about their disaster relief efforts during Hurricane Helene. So they talk all about how they raised funds to help those in need, how they coordinated efforts to actually go to those affected areas in person, and the things that they had to do to prepare for that. And they also talk about the power of meeting people at convention, which I think is also very important because they may not have otherwise met each other. So great discussion. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you again next week.
Welcome to Talk Exchange. I'm Tracy Edwards, CEO of the National Exchange Club.
And I'm Christy Lindahl, Director of Communications.
So good to be here, Christy. You know, it's so great with the jobs that we do. We hear from so many members across the country, and then we hear stories about members. I knew about this story because I spoke directly to Randy England. He called me one day and told me what he was doing, and I was blown away, and we keep hearing more and more about it, and it's just awesome.
Randy's a great guy.
Definitely.
I'm excited for our listeners to meet him.
I am too. And we're also joined by Randy and Kim Hall, equally as awesome members. Long history with Kim and her family in Exchange and Randy. So great that they all collaborated here. So welcome Randy and Kim Hall from North Carolina and Randy England from Tennessee. Great to have you all here. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
First, why don't you tell us, Randy and Kim, why don't you tell us a little bit about your Exchange journey first before we get into your story?
I guess I'll start it off. My dad was in Exchange for many years, back when it was just a men's club. And he tried to get my brothers involved, but they never really caught on. And so when there was a club that chartered in Garner, North Carolina, I was the only one there that knew anything about Exchange or heard of Exchange.
Wow.
So I was actually the charter president of that one.
Awesome.
Then me and Randy, we were married, so he, came along with me and joined Exchange from that point. So we've been in Exchange ever since, been to every national convention since.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful. Thank you.
I think it's 33 or 34 conventions.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a bunch. So you plan your whole family vacation around it. I know we've met your family. It's been really fun. Thank you. And Randy England, tell us about your journey with Exchange.
Well, about 20, sorry, I'm having to make sure my students are okay. About 27 years ago, my next door neighbor, her name was Ann Boyd, she pulled up my driveway one day and she's telling me all about Exchange. And she said, I think you'd be a good fit. And I said, I never heard of it. And so she said, how about you go to a meeting? And so I did. And I thought, man, this is something that I can get involved with. And I guess I was in Exchange for about maybe a year and went to the Tennessee convention. And that's where I met Nancy Brett. And Nancy Brett at the time was, I think, the president of the Tennessee district. I believe I'm right. And she said, we've got an upcoming convention coming up, a national convention in Alabama. I believe it was in Birmingham. And she said, I would like for you to go. And that was my very first convention. Now, however many years ago that's been. And I remember going to Birmingham. And I don't think at that time we had an auction. I can't remember. But we had awards where the Spirit Award, who had the most spirit. And our Tennessee group, we had the spirit.
Awesome.
And we got into a little bit of trouble, that kind of thing. So, I mean, that happens. They didn't know I was an auctioneer. And so whenever they said who could be the loudest, I went to the car and got all my PA equipment. And we set it up on the table.
Oh, my gosh.
And we were the loudest, trust me. And we got in a little bit of trouble. So anyway, but we won. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, much appreciation to all of you for making Exchange part of your lives. And I know you live it too. So this story caught our attention because, like I said, we knew a little bit about it from Randy England, but to see it all come together in the heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears and resources you've all devoted to this is amazing. I especially liked the part where we're going to start with you, Randy Hall. Take us back to that moment at church. What did you feel when you said, I've got to go help? And I know we read the story and you said you've had nudges before, but what makes this one different? Tell a little bit about how this lined up for you and Kim.
Oh, okay. The situation was Hurricane Helene had come up from the south and went into the mountains of western North Carolina and flooded quite a bit. And there was quite a bit of devastation in the area and quite a few lives lost. So that affected me. I had gone on mission trips before and helped out with, I guess, disaster relief before. So at this time, I heard about it and I said something to Kim that, I'm having that feeling again. And we just happened to be at church, and a gentleman came up to me who went on one of the mission trips with me. And I said to him, "Hey, have you heard what's going on?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I got this feeling I need to go help." And he's like nodding his head. He says, I can't go. I don't know what to do. And after that conversation was over, Kim turned to me and she said to me, "Hey, you're not as young as you used to be. You're about to turn 64 years old." And I'm like, but God's telling me I need to do something. So then we found out later, I don't know whether it's a week or so, Randy comes on with Facebook Live or whatever talking. And I tell Kim, I said, "Hey, look at this." And since we know Randy, he's a semi good guy. So I called him up. I said, "Hey, what can we do to help?" And it started with us sending him propane conversion kits to go from a propane tank to a camping stove. So we got his address and actually purchased online and had, I think, 10 units shipped to his house so he could bring them with him into the mountains of North Carolina. So that was the first time we got involved.
Wow.
Later, once we found out that it was great success with that, I just got that inkling again. So I asked my club, which is the New Hope Wilders Grove Club here in North Carolina, and I asked them if they could donate some money so we could purchase some canned goods and meet Randy up in the mountains, Randy and Neva, and take some canned goods with us. And the word got out to the other exchange clubs in the area. We have 6 in our area, and the money started pouring in.
Wow.
We ended up with about $1,800 when we met Randy.
Wow.
So it exploded quickly.
Absolutely. So, Randy, tell us about how you started this. I remember having the conversation with you, and you even brought your students into this. Tell us how this started for you before Randy and Kim found you online and joined up with you.
Sure. When Helene hit in September, I'd kind of been following along, watching things on YouTube and different things. And in December, I was sitting here at my desk where I'm at right now, and I was watching some YouTube videos of things going on over there. And we were about to be off for our Christmas break here. And right a day or two before that, or a week before Christmas, I can't remember the exact date, I was watching where a guy named John Ward, he is called the Appalachian Man, was he had put together a Christmas party for all of the people and their kids at the parking lot of the uh, in Maggie Valley at the old Ghost Town in the Sky amusement park, which has not been in service for many years. And the county allowed him to do that, and the people that own Ghost Town allowed him to do that. And they set up kind of like you would call it like a free flea market or a flea, free. And they had people drove down from everywhere, from Indiana and everywhere. They were bringing bicycles and
Aw.
food and
Wow.
everything. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of touched me, I guess. And so while I was off for Christmas, it just, uh, it just kept coming over my mind that I think God had put it in my heart. Just I need to help in some way. I've never done mission work, and I just kept praying about it and thinking about it. And I was telling my wife Neve about it, and she said, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "I don't know. I can't make it come together." So I come back to work, and I sat down and I started emailing people in Tennessee, and nothing against no one in Tennessee by no means, nobody, but they did not. They were wanting me to go through different channels and go through organizations. And I was trying to explain to them that I'm a county commissioner here in my hometown, and I can get things done, and I like to get things done. And I don't, here's what I'd like to do. And they just basically told me that if I didn't want to go through one of their organizations, that they didn't need my help. And I said, okay, that's fine. And so, with that being said, I got John Ward's email, and I emailed him and I told him who I was, and I said, you don't know me from no one, but I said, here's who I am and here's what I would like to do. I'd like to help the people in North Carolina, but what can I do to help? So he emails me back and he says, well, we're having trouble with propane. He said, there is no propane over here, and said, uh, these makeshift campgrounds. Um, there was one called Haven on the Hill, where a guy took a piece of his property, which nothing in the Appalachian area is a level. Everything's on a hill, and he let people come in there and bring campers, and people were donated campers where somebody could live. The problem was they had no water, no electric, no nothing, and they had generators. They were running through a lot of gasoline. They were getting water really out of the creek running next door to it. And John told me, said they can't, they ain't got no propane. Said they can go about 4 hours down the road, wait in line, and get two 20-pound propane tanks. Now I'm talking about the kind like you would have on your gas grill at your home. So I told him, I said, let me see what I can do. And I got off the phone and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to take propane over there. So I started researching and finding out that, you know, in Tennessee, you can only transport so much propane without getting into trouble. And so I thought, well, how are we going to get around that? So I just put the call out and told people that these people in North Carolina didn't have propane and I needed some help. I did it by first on Facebook, and man, it blew sky high. People was calling me up, and I was saying, all I want to do is borrow your gas grill or your gas grill tank for the winter, and I will get it back to you. I was writing people's names on them. Me and Neva was keeping a list in a notebook, and my home became kind of a hub, so to say. And people was bringing them, and then people would bring ones that were filled and what have you. So the first round that I got of tanks was about, I believe we took 82, I think, or 76 or
Wow.
82. And so if you do the poundage, that's a lot. And we were way over what we were supposed to be transporting. So I put them in a box trailer that I own, and then we took some other things like toilet paper and just some little things like that. And we headed out of here on me and my neighbor, and we took off about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's about a 7 hour drive, 7.5 hour drive. We didn't know where we were going. And when we got up there, it was so chaos. There was so much chaos, but it was organized chaos. And it was hard to get my truck in with the pulling the trailer. It was, but when we got up there and seeing how these people were living, I just was like, I mean, I just couldn't imagine that people were having to live the way they were living. But we dropped off, like I say, it was either 76 or 82 tanks. I can't remember exactly how many. And we left it. Well, the man there, his name is James Lunsford. He's the one that owned the land. He said there's another area down in the valley that's out of propane. And so we actually took them about maybe 20 tankfuls. I can't remember, maybe 25 to help them because their people didn't have no propane. And then what I done is I got all of their empties and I said, well, I'll fill them and come back. Well, we stayed for a while and seen how people were living, and it was just like I say, it was chaos, but it was somewhat organized chaos. And so we came back home that night, and when I got home, my wife Neva, she had gone to Colorado for the weekend, and I sat in my house and I said, I am not thankful for what I have, because I've got my home, I've got warm clothes on, I've got food to eat, and these people that I just left today have got nothing. They got nothing. One woman in particular, her name was Miss Marilyn. They found her under a bridge living in a tent, and she was about 65 years old, 60,
Oh,
65 years
jeez.
old. And she didn't have nothing. And when we met her, I think we met her actually on the second trip, I'm not real sure. And she told me, she was smiling, and she said, "Look what I've got. I've
Oh,
got a coffee pot, I've got a quilt to sleep under, and I've got clothes on my back." And she said, "And I'm happy." And I sat in my home and I looked at all my stuff, and I just looked up and I said, "God, I'm not thankful for what I've got, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not thanking you for everything that you've given me." Well, we pulled together some more propane, and one of the men here in McMinnville that worked at the propane uh, company called me up, and he said, "They give us propane as a bonus." And he said, "I've got 800 gallons of propane, and I'm going
What?
to give it to you." And I got 800 gallons of propane donated.
Wow.
wow.
And so we took tanks and we refilled them again. And the day that I was going to deliver them, I had some issues. And so one of my neighbors and his daughter, they delivered the propane for me. That was trip number 2. They just delivered it and turned around and came back. And then they brought back the empties. Now, on the third trip, and I'm going a little fast, and y'all tell me if I need to slow down or speed up. But on the third trip, the campground Haven on the Hill, they were having an issue with food. They had a little bitty building to keep food in, and then they were trying to cook for the people living there, and they didn't have a good way to keep things clean and what have you. And they were going to build a building to cook out of and then like serve through a window. So I told my wife, I said, we're gonna build them a food trailer is what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna try to take enough stuff up there to get their little building started. So I came home, come out of church one Sunday, and I told Neve, I said, "Look on Facebook Marketplace, and there was a trailer for sale." We drove, I, I bought it, but people had been giving me some money. I brought it out here to our school. I work at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology here in McMinnville, Tennessee. And I got with our instructor that teaches our construction class and told him what I wanted to do. They built shelves in it. I got with our electricity class, and they put electric in it so we could like plug it in and have some lights and that kind of thing. And then we turned around and we packed that trailer full of cans, but the number 10 cans like restaurants use. We got that. We got our church involved, neighbors involved. Like Randy and Kim said, they sent propane adapters. I took a team at that time. I took a team of people, and I believe that's when Randy and Kim. No, uh, y'all was involved at that point, wasn't you? I believe y'all come with us then, and we uh, we packed everything we could, and they came and brought a load of stuff. Their car was so loaded. I don't see how they didn't bust a tire. But anyway, they had that, and then I took 3 trailerfuls, and we also took propane cook stoves, a stainless steel table, an on-demand hot water heater,
Wow.
all the utensils that they would need to cook with, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something else. And we went and we delivered that morning at the Haven on the Hill, and then we cooked breakfast for them. I carried a grill, a big 4-foot grill, and we cooked pancakes and sausage. And it was raining. It was raining straight down.
Oh man.
And so we were hoping to do it like under some tents, but we had to do it in one of the trailers. And we just leveled it up the best we could. We mixed the mix up. We poured it out. We put the plates together. I think the ladies, and Kim might want to comment on this, but because my wife's not here, but the ladies went to each camper to make sure everybody had some food. And then we fixed additional plates that they sent to another campground down the road. And I believe, and Kim and Randy can help me, but it seemed like we fed maybe close to 180, maybe 100, I can't remember, pancakes and sausage. And it worked out good. Well, we hurriedly got that done because we went back. John Ward had set up another free day for people to come down at Maggie Valley at Ghost Town in the Sky parking lot. And we all went down there, and it was raining, it was cold, and we set up along with other people, and we gave away clothes, food, some toys, basketballs, footballs, Bibles, just Randy and Kim can chime in there. A whole lot of things that we took, and people would come up, and they were very. I'll have to say, the people in North Carolina, they didn't come up and just start grabbing. They were very like you had to just say you had to kind of insist. I remember
Mm.
Randy Hall saying, I can't remember, but somebody said, "Can I have one of these?" And he said, "No, you can have 5 or 6 of them. Take as many as you want."
Yeah, Randy, that's what got me the most was how humble the people were. They didn't have anything, and they come up and they want to take one little fruit cup,
Oh
one
my
little pudding
gosh.
cup, and we
Mm.
had hundreds and hundreds of all kinds of food snacks and everything. And I told them, get a bag, and I just started taking like a box of pudding cups and just putting them in their bag. I was like,
Hmm.
take it. This
Hmm.
we came for you, so don't hold back.
No.
There was
We want you to use this stuff.
Yes.
Yep, just about everybody that came up. They were very timid. I almost felt like they was kind of
Mm.
suspect of what was going on. Um, Maybe they thought Randy was going to break out preaching to them or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's what struck me most was they only wanted to take one or two, and they kept saying, "Well, I'm leaving the stuff for other people."
Wow.
Well,
So,
we actually had enough items that people could have got what they wanted. We had a lot of clothes, and one of the good things that we had a local church in the area, and I wish to this day that I had gotten their name. But we had a local church in the area, and the preacher came and he said, whatever you guys got left over, we've got a clothes closet and things like that, and we did give it to them,
mhm.
the clothes portion of it. Like I say, I wished I had gotten their names, and but we were serving the people. It was cold. It was raining. It was tough. I don't care to tell you, it was tough.
Hmm.
And then when that ended, we kind of got everything together. But in the process, we met a couple. I was trying to think of their name right this second. We met a couple that had a campground on the other side of Asheville. I believe it's Murphy, North Carolina. I believe that's right. And her name is Deanna. They come up to us and they said, "Can you help with us a food trailer for our area?" So we heard that you built one for Haven on the Hill, and I go, I'm out of money. We're out of time. It takes a lot of work. And Ronnie, his name's Ronnie, just come to me. Ronnie and Deanna Sisk. There it did. Just come to me.
Mhm.
And I said, you know, I'll see what I can do, but I ain't making no promises. So we exchanged some phone numbers, and then we left that afternoon, and myself and my wife and Randy and Kim and the others that was with us, they were from our church. We went to a local hotel, and I want to say this: the hotels in the areas, they treated us very good. They gave us discounted rates. We didn't pay. To me, I thought we paid a fair price for our rooms, and they was very good to us. The one of the county commissioners over there, him and John Ward, we all met and went to dinner that night at a really good restaurant that night. I'm not sure what town we were in at that point. I think we were in Maggie Valley then. And we went and had a good, and we just had some good conversation about things that's going to happen in the future. Well, on Sunday morning, we all left thinking this was the end as far as us helping. And I actually told Randy and Kim, I'll see you guys at the national convention. So when we come home, I told my wife, I said, that other couple was wanting a food trailer, and I said they don't have no trouble getting the food. The problem is they didn't have nowhere to store it, and they didn't have um, no refrigeration or no nothing like that. But they could get the food. I think they had a deal with Publix in their area is what they had. And I said, and all I've got is about I think at that time I had two about $2,100 left. Is all I had.
Randy, let me interrupt you right quick. Before we broke up that Sunday, we met in the, I guess, the little lobby food area at the hotel. And we sat there and we talked about what happened. And he was telling us that the other people, Ronnie and Deanna, wanted a food trailer as well. Well, then people pulled out their phones and started searching on Marketplace or whatever. And somebody found another trailer. And we all looked at Randy, and Randy's going like, I don't know if I got enough money. Well, what Randy didn't know was that Kim and I still had resources. So when we broke up that evening and went back to our room, I was sitting there, I was going like, we got like $800 left over because we could not spend all that money and transport it in our car. No way. So we still had about $800. So that morning, while we were sitting there eating breakfast with Randy and the other couples, I looked at Kim. Kim's kind of nodding at me. Yeah, that's fine. So I asked Randy to step out to the lobby because I I try to do things behind the scenes. So I didn't want everybody, all the public in there to know. So
I thought he was going to I thought he was going to whip me.
yeah. So I got him out in the lobby, and we wrote him a check for the $800 to go towards the second trailer, with the condition that he put some kind of a little sign on or something saying from the exchange clubs of Wake County, North Carolina, just so they would know that we were thinking about them and we had come to help them. So then Randy proceeded onward with his second trailer build.
That's amazing. Let's go to Kim for a minute. We haven't heard what Kim thinks about all this. I want to hear about what Kim, when from the time you first heard Randy say, I need to go help, and then clearly you got involved and joined him. Tell us about your experience and what you thought throughout.
Well, he like he said, he's been on several mission trips. He was actually in Honduras on 9/11 when the towers came down.
Wow.
So trying to figure out how to get him back here and all that when no planes were flying and that. So that kind of brings back memories. But yeah, he wanted to first start out with the regulators. I thought, okay, that's good. We can do that. But then when he started with we're going to go help and we're going to take food, and I'm starting to calculate the weight of the cans of food and what'll fit in there. But people were bringing blankets they had made, crocheted hats and things. We had lots of items that we were just trying to Tetris it, kind of fit it in the car kind of thing. So, but it was good to go help. Saw a lot of people in need.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let me interject real quick, Tracy.
Sure.
We drove up that Friday. We took the Friday off to meet Randy, and that Friday just happened to be Valentine's Day. So for Valentine's, I took my wife to the mountains on a mission trip.
Wow.
So that's how we spent Valentine's.
That's a beautiful story. That's amazing. I appreciate you sharing it. I know there's so much more to this, so we're going to tell people where they can go to learn more, but just the impact you had, and this showcases the power of exchange,
Absolutely.
Right? Exchange brought you all together, North Carolina, Tennessee, working on this together, going to help people. It really showcases our motto of unity for service and really our mission of inspiring communities. Yeah. Right, Christy?
And if you think back to where this conversation started, they met at the convention.
Exactly. Yes. Wow.
People need to get to Omaha.
You're right. The power of exchange.
That's right.
Well, I know there's so much more to this. Let's close this, wrap it with a nice little bow, Randy, and we'll tell people where to go to learn more, and we'll keep in touch. We'll need to have you back again.
Sure. I'll wrap mine up real fast and let you finish. I was going to tell you was talking about meeting. I met Randy and Kim at the national convention, and really we hit it off, and now we look forward to seeing each other every year. But Randy and Kim about 2 years ago was coming through Tennessee, and they stayed with me and Neva one night and took her to some local places and things like that, and showed them how Tennessee people live, and and then we're going to hopefully get to go to their house. Their daughter's getting married, and we're hoping to plan some trips
Yes.
over there. And so
Aw.
we've met each other, and just like in Omaha, I told Neva the other night, I said, when we go to Omaha, we'll be going out with Randy and Kim. It ain't no question of who you're going with. It's who we know we're going out with them. And
Uh,
they know that as well. But we hope people will come. I've been
mm-hmm.
fortunate that I've been asked to come all these years and be your auctioneer. And we've raised hundreds of thousands of
Oh,
dollars
yeah.
for the National Prevention of Child Abuse, and it seems every year when I think, and Tracy knows this, when I think that I don't think that we're going to make it this year because times are hard or because I don't want to say the C word, but just different things, and I think we're not going to make it, and we do. And we
We
beat
do.
last year's record, and it just
Mm-hmm.
amazes me. So, I'm looking forward to coming to Omaha. So, I'll let you guys in it, and God bless all of you, and I can't wait to see you in about a month.
Well, we
I
can't
got to
wait.
tell
and
you,
thank
Randy, you are an integral part of our convention.
Absolutely.
Year after year.
Absolutely. And Kim and Randy too at Time Out
Absolutely.
Daddy coming along.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, closing thoughts, Kim and Randy, please, before we see you all in Omaha.
My closing thought is yes, Randy has lured me into spending a
Yeah.
lot of money
Yes.
at the convention.
Good.
But yeah, it's always great. We've made friends with people from all around the nation, and they just happen to be the most special ones that we've met, and it's kind of become a Tennessee family. They semi adopted our daughter Brandy,
Yes.
and Randy's been trying to lure her to Tennessee to go to work.
Uh-oh.
She's happy in North Carolina,
Good.
but we have a great time with them.
Yeah, that's so great. We love Brandy. Can't wait to see her as well. And Kim, my gosh, this started with your dad being a member.
Right.
My God, what a legacy. What a family
Yeah.
legacy, right?
Thank you all so much.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Amazing. Well, to learn more about what Kim and Randy Hall and Randy England made happen, I'm sure you can Google it. We'll put a link
Put a link
to
up.
the story in with this episode. To learn more about Exchange, please visit nationalexchangeclub.org and our Facebook page.
That's it.
That's it. Wow. Very impactful. Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you.
Simply amazing.
You're
And
welcome.
what a difference you made in the
Mhm.
lives of those people and beyond. We'll see you in Omaha. Thanks for listening to
right.
this
Thank you.
episode of Talk Exchange.
Thank you.
Wow.
Good job, you guys.
Amazing.